Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. We're going to have fun today because we are doing the Cobra special. It's been a long time coming, and as always I'm hoping to hear what you think about these clips in the comments. Let's dive in.
As I was going down to kiss the King Cobra, I realized it's not a kiss. It becomes an actual connection. You're going head to head, respecting the King Cobra.
Can stand back. Okay.
There's no connection, it's just learning the snake's behaviour and behaving a way yourself that makes it not want to bite you at that very second. Ironic really here that David Blaine, his career had stalled for quite some time due to allegations of him doing things to women without their consent, so he's going to get himself back in the public eye by doing things to cobras without their consent. Sorry, that was below the belt. Let's move on. Now I know I've featured that one before on this channel, but I had to throw it back in because I honestly still can't make up my mind if that is real or AI. There's a mongoose in the background, the shadow of the snake is really well done, the movement's really well done, but there's still some weird behavior as it goes over that obstacle.
My spitting cobra just sprayed venom right into my eyes. I reached into the enclosure without safety glasses. There it was. Bam! Nailed me right in the face. Instant, severe pain. Spitting cobras have a neurotoxic venom. When entered into your bloodstream, causes your nervous system to shut down, your heart, your lungs, all that good stuff. Goodbye. When it's into your eyes, it can make you go blind. Will I go blind? We'll see.
Your spitting cobra spat. Maybe we'll see isn't the best phrase to use though. That looks like quite a simple clip at first, but actually from my perspective there was some pretty cool stuff going on there. He gets the cobra out, it starts, you know, doing what a cobra does and trying to climb up the hook and all that stuff, but if you look at the area and how he's set up, it's really good. He's got leg gaiters on, he's got a glove on the other hand, he's got space behind him, the floor is clear, there's nothing he can trip over, he's got another snake hook behind him too. So he's got all the safety measures that don't jump out at you at first unless you think about it, but that's a safe setup and a safe way of handling. You know, that does show some planning and some thinking. It's pretty cool, really.
Sure.
Were you filming?
Yep.
Ooh, I hope you got it.
Oh, I definitely did. It obviously made me jump back too.
That was Wild Marek, a good account to follow, showing a Wrinkles spitting. I know I still can't pronounce the name Wrinkles, but, you know, I am English, what can I do? And it's cool to see that behaviour from the Wrinkles, but also this behaviour up next. There you saw another snake of the same species performing thanatosis or playing dead, and I think that's a really cool thing to see that the same species has two methods of defending itself, or, you know, not getting eaten basically. One is spitting venom or biting as a real last resort, and the other is playing dead, and it can switch between what it thinks is going to best suit the situation. That's pretty amazing. That's a good survival toolkit, if you like.
Check out this beautiful Bali King Cobra. Yep, it's from a different locality than the Java one, and different from Malaysian ones that I've been around. Absolutely gorgeous and unbelievably smart.
That was funny because I usually see him like taunting reticulated pythons and having them strike at him, and they always just look pissed off around him. And now he's taken to turning his hand to handling king cobras, but I notice he's going around it a little bit differently than he does with the retics.
Let me show you the most venomous cobra from Africa, but first let's mic her up because a lot of times these guys are very vocal. So this right here is the Cape Cobra. Drop for drop, it's just as toxic as the Black Mamba, which takes about 15 mg of venom to end a person. And the anti-venom doesn't work real well from what I read.
That's an exceptionally beautiful snake. I love the different color variations of Cape Cobras, but honestly, I didn't know that their venom was as potent per drop as that of the Black Mamba. That's a fascinating fact. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It all helps. Thank you.
All right, let's see how the little baby monocled cobra is doing. This is the one baby that we hatched out we decided to keep. Oh, hello. What's up, little dude? Oh, hello. You okay? Look at that beautiful hood he's got. This is why I kept him. He's got a very cool broken up O on the back, called the monocled cobra because that O on the back. And you can see he focuses on movement. This is a very powerful neurotoxic snake. So this guy actually has the ability to shut down its prey by shutting down its nervous system.
So there you saw Chandler's Wildlife handling a very zippy little monocled cobra. He's a guy that I didn't really know anything about before I started doing these videos, but I've got to say, what I've noticed is people seem to really love him or really hate him. I'm not entirely sure why, but I do know that for an entertainer, that is exactly what you want.
His real name is a dead giveaway for the highly specialized unique weapons he and his cousin the Rincals are carrying. He's a Mozambique spitting cobra. Together, they're armed to the teeth. Literally. Like their cobra relatives, these two have needle-like hollow fangs fixed to the front of their upper jaws. But they've got extra firepower.
Were there any mistakes in that clip, or am I just messing with you? I'm hoping someone really smart with a quick eye can tell me.
That snake, this is a forest cobra. The man holding it is Dingo Dinkelman. If you haven't checked him out yet, you definitely should. But these snakes are incredible. They are the largest true cobras. I know King Cobra is longer, but King Cobra's not a true cobra. Anyway, these guys are insane. They grow upwards of 7 feet and they can go 12 miles per hour. They are fast and they eat anything they can.
I'm learning a lot from this video because I didn't know that they went 12 miles per hour either. That's a new one on me. Still a snake species or group of species that I don't know much about. I'm trying to learn more about them. They're a little bit mysterious for me. The fact that they're the longest true cobra is really interesting. And yes, in this video I am cheating and including cobras that aren't true cobras, so that aren't in the Naja genus.
Right, so that's the brown forest cobra. Yeah, this is Mike Perry from African Reptiles and Venom. It's a facility that keeps venomous snakes for the supply of venom for the anti-venom production, as well as for training purposes. Now, these snakes don't cause snake bites. Very, very few people get bitten by these cobras. So these snakes, although they're very common in KwaZulu-Natal, they don't feature in snake bites. Can you hear the snake hissing? It's a typical warning that the snake gives for you to leave it alone.
There you saw Mike Perry teaching us more about one of the species of forest cobras, and Mike Perry has actually been kind enough to comment on this channel a couple of times, which is cool because he doesn't have to share his knowledge for free. And what he says there is that the forest cobra doesn't cause a lot of bites in KwaZulu-Natal, and the reason for that is, you know, basically they really do like the forest. It's not just a name, they do prefer being in forested areas to suburban or farmland, and apparently, I'm told, they much prefer retreat to defense.
Oh, see? When they spit, let me just try that again. Man, he's got a lot of venom. Heck of a lot. Look at that cobra stance. Where you zebras? Woohoo! I can't believe it. This was the snake that I really wanted to find out of all the species. Now, he's gonna end up dead because the zebra is like a real stubborn snake. He won't go anywhere. He'll stand here, hood it up, and hold his ground. So I'm gonna just try and get him off the road, which means I've got to tail him, and I'm already a little debilitated, so I'm very nervous. See if I can draw his attention away.
Wow, it's always interesting watching Steve Irwin now. He was one of my favourites when I was growing up. He inspired a whole generation of people to get more interested in reptiles and snakes and consider learning about them instead of, you know, squashing them with a shovel or something. So he did a lot of good, but on the other hand, when you watch him handling them and you watch him chasing them and catching them and stuff, there is a part of you that thinks, you know what, that isn't necessary, this is harassing the animals. And the reason for that is probably that he was in another time and place. Things change, sensibilities change. Would he probably still handle snakes like that to this day? Maybe not. He might have, you know, adopted a more hands-off approach with time. We've had the benefit of evolving over the last 20 years in our thinking about animals and recognizing that, you know, a hands-off approach is better for nature. But in his day, things were very, very different. So instead of really judging Steve Irwin too harshly, you do have to take into consideration the difference in mentality back then.
Check out that hood. That's where they get their name. That pattern that looks almost like spectacled eyes and a mouth. Even though it kind of looks like a happy face, this snake is not looking to make friends. Cobras extend their hoods to make themselves look bigger to any predators. It's a defensive warning to back off. But if the predator doesn't get the hint, spectacled cobras have a really powerful, potent venom.
I feel like the spectacled cobra is like the iconic cobra species, you know, it's from the snake charmers and the movies. And what they're saying about the hood spreading is quite an interesting point, really. So in sensory ecology, we talk about signaling a lot. Honest signaling and dishonest signaling. That is doing anything with your body to make yourself appear bigger, more dangerous, expressing your quality as a mate to another animal of the same species, all that kind of stuff. A lot of it is just falls under the brackets of signaling. And the difference between honest and dishonest signaling is that if a cobra does spread its hood and it spreads it to make itself look bigger to predators than it really is, that's dishonest signaling. So we can understand that quite easily. But where it gets interesting is that because cobras are venomous and some predators recognize this, some predators actually recognize the hood as a sign of being venomous. So it's a snake that can do dishonest and honest signaling at the same time with the same behavior, and that's quite unique and quite interesting. Right, that was the Cobra Man doing venom extraction with a cobra, as you'd expect. And a lot of people have messaged me over the past few months saying, you know, isn't there a better way than using hooks to pin them? Isn't there a safer way of doing this? Can't you pin the snakes in a different way to make it less risky? There are ways. So one is using a tube for certain snakes, and the other that was kind of old school, but what people used to do was using one of these. So I don't know how well you can see this, but this is like a U-shaped fork. It's on the end of what looks like a snake hook, basically. And you can use that to pin the snake's neck down. But you don't see lots of people using these. You don't see Bill Collett, for example, using these, or at least I haven't, you know. Maybe he has and I haven't seen it. But basically these, yes, they would work for a snake, you know, about the size of my finger. You can see that that would apply and that would work. You have no real way of telling how much pressure you're applying though, and if you've got a really big snake like a King Cobra or something, this isn't going to work. You could get them in different sizes. The bigger they are because of the flexible rubber, the less effective they'd be. Overall, it's not a great tool to use in my opinion. So if you want to do venom extractions and you want to do a job like some of these guys do, you're going to have to really be prepared for a certain level of risk all the time. You're going to be pinning with snake hooks, or you might be pinning with the big flat thing that some people use, but there's always going to be a little bit of risk. And that's just how it is, unfortunately. That was a beautiful Anchieta's cobra being handled at the African Snakebite Institute. They have a wonderful website, which I think if you live in Southern Africa, you should visit their website at least once, just to learn about how you can keep yourself safer. But that was really cool. I love the banded pattern. Now we're going to look at another species that does sometimes have a banded pattern, and then I'll talk about why.
That's it.
Okay. That's better.
Yeah.
So there you saw the banded phase of the snouted cobra, and this is kind of interesting because they live kind of like next to each other geographically, and they're both banded, and they have a reasonably close evolutionary link. They're related species, they're part of a clade, a complex as you could probably call it, but they're diverged enough to be separate species, but they're still both banded. So we know there's an advantage to having that banded pattern, and really overall, like I say, they've got their hood, they can spread, they can hiss, they can do that stuff to scare predators, but the truth is a banded pattern can help scare predators as well, and we think it can disrupt their outline when they move quickly in the undergrowth. So Africa is such a tough environment, such a competitive environment, that even though they've got venom, they can spread their hood, they can hiss, they're visually pretty easy to recognize as cobras, they're still going to go for even more protection in the form of banding.
1 Minute Wildlife with Robert Wedderburn, the Mozambique spitting cobra. This cobra species is found throughout the eastern half of southern Africa up into East Africa. The snake is easily identified by its black edge scales, a light pink-brown neck with black bands and blotches on its hood, and of course its ability to spray its venom. The Mozambique spitting cobra doesn't need to raise its hood to spray its venom, and it is extremely quick to spray its venom when threatened.
That was a clip from Robert Wedderburn, who's got a very good educational account. I purposely haven't included the whole clips for most of these clips in the video, so if you see a good educational account like this, you can go and check them out and see the whole clip there.
Just got back from the airport where I picked up the biggest venomous snake in the world. I have heard rumors that this guy is a freaking monster. I've seen pictures, but pictures never do him justice. So theoretically, we're going to be careful opening this. It should be double contained, which it is. It's insulated well, and I can already hear him huffing and puffing. This guy's going to be insane. This, of course, is the King Cobra. This is the Sumatran locality. Let's go ahead and snip the rest of those zip ties. Yeah. That dude's freaking huge. That is unreal. This is the biggest king I think I've ever seen. Let's go ahead and crack it open and see if we can't show you. This guy is big. That head is bigger than my hand. He's about as thick as my calf. This guy is a fucking monster. We're going to have to get him out of this tub and get him set up inside his new enclosure.
Fortunately, he seemed pretty chilled out. Honestly, at that size, if you did get bitten, unless you had the anti-venom literally like in the next room, I'm not sure if there's any point even going to the hospital. I don't know if you'd have more than like, 20 minutes, 10 minutes even. Who knows? Depends how long the bite is, obviously, and how much venom gets in there, but yeah, not a good prospect.
Crikey, that water's warm. This is the Asian spit. Lucky I got these glasses on.
I'll never forget watching this scene as a kid. Let's talk about the evolution of this trait and how a behavior like this can evolve. The leading hypothesis is that we actually drove this, well, our ancestors anyways, and I'll get to that at the end, but...
Oh, don't tell me humans have been snake molesters for millions of years. I thought it was a recent TikTok trend.
First, I want to talk more about the physical element. Spitting cobras have evolved larger muscles that put more pressure on the venom so that the venom is released with more force, allowing it to spit. But importantly, the direction that venom flows is also altered. When we think of an evolutionary adaptation like this, the ability to spit a blinding, painful venom at your target a couple of meters, it's hard to imagine something like that naturally coming into effect. But I mentioned the muscle. We can imagine how a muscle could get stronger over time in a lineage. This is the difference in the fangs. This is your more typical snake. It bites, the venom is injected. This is what we see with the structure of spitting cobras. So it's evolved a more narrow opening, and it's also angled a little bit more to allow that venom to spit outward.
So that was Zeke Darwin's Science. He puts a lot of information in a short clip and delivers it really, really well. And it checks out. It's all good info. Anyway, that's going to do it for the Cobra special. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll come back next week for more. Thank you very much.